Okay, so you want to live more intentionally, huh? Great stuff to unpack here. We're diving into this piece about, well, intentional living, and it's got these five, like, super juicy tips. And I gotta say, I'm always down for those aha moments, the ones that really make things click.
Totally. It's those little shifts in perspective that can make all the difference.
Exactly. So, tip number one hits hard. Clarify your values. Sounds simple, but how do those values actually guide our choices? Like day to day, what does that even look like?
It's like, imagine your values are this inner compass.
Oh, right. Ew, I like that.
So you get to a crossroads, could be anything, big or small,
Mhm.
and that compass, it's pointing you towards, I don't know, the path that feels most you. Like, let's say you really value, I don't know, adventure, that job offer in a new city, it's exciting. But someone who's all about security, ooh, that same offer might freak them out a little.
It's like choosing your own adventure, but in real life. Our values write the story. And speaking of paths, the next tip is all about setting these like purposeful goals. We've all got those to-do lists, right? But making sure those tasks actually mesh with our values, that just hits different. How do we avoid those like empty check marks and actually chase after what matters?
Love that question. It's so easy to get caught up in what we think we should be doing
Right. Totally.
instead of what lights us up inside. Here's a little thought experiment. Before you commit to any goal at all, just ask yourself, what value does this actually serve? Does it resonate? Is it about adventure, connection, something else entirely? That simple question can be surprisingly powerful. It's like a filter for your goals, weeding out the ones that just don't belong.
It's like a goal setting gut check. Okay, so mindfulness. I gotta admit, this one always throws me a little. It's such a buzzword these days, but how do we actually apply it to make
Uh,
our lives, more intentional?
I think mindfulness gets a bad rap. It's not about like sitting on a mountaintop trying to empty your thoughts.
Thank
It's
goodness.
way simpler than that. It's
Yep.
about bridging that gap, the one between the values we talked about and your actual everyday actions.
Yeah.
It's about catching those disconnects and making a different choice. Like
Yeah.
if connecting with loved ones is huge for you, but you're constantly scrolling through, the socials,
Oh, guilty.
we've all been there. Mindfulness is about noticing that
Yeah.
without judgment and gently being like, okay, let's reconnect with what truly matters.
It's like hitting the reset button. And that kind of leads us to this next tip, limiting distractions. Easier said than done, right?
Oh, for sure.
Especially in our world, everything's vying for our attention. How do we even begin to tackle that?
Right. So we do have more control than we think. It's less about willpower, more about being clever. Design your environment to work for you, not against you. Seriously,
Yeah.
think about it. Your surroundings, they can either support your intentions or totally sabotage them. It's
Okay.
like if you want to eat healthier, having a fruit bowl out on the counter, way more effective than a hidden stash of like cookies.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. You're subconsciously nudging yourself towards your goals
Right.
by how you set things up.
Love that. Creating space for intentionality. Okay, last tip, regular reflection. I love how this isn't just about fixing what's broken, but also acknowledging what's working.
100%. Reflection is like turning those experiences into, well, wisdom.
Ooh.
It's about closing that feedback loop, seeing where our values meet reality. And it doesn't need to be this big, complicated thing. Find what works. Journaling, meditation, even just taking a few minutes at the end of the day to be like, okay, how'd it go? Can be super insightful.
It's like checking in with yourself, having a little powwow.
Exactly.
So there you have it, your roadmap to a more intentional life. Clarify those values, set goals with purpose, sprinkle in some mindfulness, ditch those distractions as much as you can, and make reflection your new bestie. And remember, it's not about some finish line, it's about the journey. Right.
Absolutely. It's about progress, not perfection.
Okay, now here's a little something to ponder. If you could only pick one of these awesome tips to focus on for the next week, just one, which one would have the biggest impact on your life right now? And why? Think about it. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. It's been real.